Hi everyone, is my voice audible? Can you hear me? Hello, is my voice audible? Abhishek?
Yes.
Okay, so today we are going to start with module number 2. So I completed module number 1 and today we are going to start with module number 2. Module number 2 is all about SDLC process. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. So in this module, I am going to explain you what is SDLC, then what are the different phases that are there in SDLC, and what kind of activities the entire IT team is going to do in each and every phase, and what is the role of a BA in each and every phase. So apart from that, we have two other concepts called as version controlling system and artifacts. So we are going to cover all this. Okay. So coming to the module, SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. Okay. So before entering into software development lifecycle, can you people just let me know what do you mean by lifecycle? Any guesses?
A life cycle is the whole cycle of the product or the project that we're working on.
Okay. So lifecycle explains the whole process from start to end for a particular product or anything. For example, if I say trade life cycle, it explains the life cycle of a trade. That means how trade will be initiated, how trade will be executed, how trade will be ordered, how trade will be finalized, and how trade will be settled in this way. Okay. So SDLC explains about software development life cycle. That means it explains about the life cycle of a particular project. It explains the implementation process or development process of a particular software from start to end in different phases. Okay. So that means each and every phase, how the development goes on. Okay. So this SDLC, also known as ADLC and PDLC. Okay. So ADLC stands for Analysis and Designing Lifecycle, and PDLC stands for Project Development Lifecycle or Product Development Lifecycle. So here you are going to get an important interview question. The interviewer is going to ask you, what is SDLC? What are the different phases? Now, once you explain all the different phases, then immediately he will ask you what is ADLC and what is PDLC. So don't get panic or confusion. These three terminologies means the same: SDLC or ADLC or PDLC. Okay. So SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle or System Development Lifecycle. Then ADLC stands for Analysis and Design Lifecycle, and PDLC stands for Project Development Lifecycle or Product Development Lifecycle. Okay. Now, what are the different phases means the entire activities, whatever that takes place in SDLC process, like investigation, analysis, design, development, testing, implementation, maintenance, all these are classified into 6 phases. What are those phases means? Requirement planning and enterprise analysis phase. Second one is designing phase. Third one is development phase. Fourth one is testing phase. Fifth one is installation phase. And finally, the sixth one is maintenance phase. Okay. So these are the 6 phases of SDLC. So I am going to explain about each and every phase in detail, like what kind of activities that take place and what is the role of a BA. That means In requirement planning and enterprise, what kind of role the BA plays? In designing phase, what kind of role the BA plays? In development phase, what kind of role the BA plays? In this way, I will cover all these different phases. So first, we will see with requirement planning and enterprise analysis phase. So this is the first phase in SDLC. That means we are going to start the development of a project with this phase, that is requirement planning and enterprise analysis. So the main activities that we cover are initial assessment and feasibility study. Okay. So here enterprise analysis is nothing but like once the client gives you the development document or requirement document, that document will contain some information related to the project. Okay. Now we have to convert that information into detailed information. So for that purpose, we will do enterprise analysis. Like we will find out what is the objective of the client, why he is implementing this project. So what is organization mission? Okay. So in this process, first we are going to identify the correct stakeholders. So I have explained who are correct stakeholders. So correct stakeholders are nothing but the people who are related with the ongoing project. So those people are nothing but correct stakeholders and we are going to identify them. So once you identify those stakeholders, we are going to gather information from those stakeholders. How we are going to gather means with the help of enterprise analysis techniques. As I said, we have different enterprise analysis techniques. So with the help of that enterprise analysis techniques, we are going to gather information. Okay. So once you gather information, then we are going to show these requirements to our reporting authority. Okay. So those reporting authority is going to give feedback. Okay. They are going to review and give feedback whether these requirements are correct or not, whether these requirements are sufficient or not, whether additional requirements are required or these requirements are sufficient. Okay. So after that, we are going to do feasibility study. So feasibility study in the sense, there will be 4 parameters in feasibility study. So each and every requirement has to satisfy these 4 parameters. If any one of these parameter is missing, then we are not going to keep that requirement in the development process. Okay. So what are those 4 parameters means? The first one is legal feasibility. Second one is economic feasibility. Third one is technical feasibility. And finally, the fourth one is operational feasibility. These are the 4 parameters. So let me explain about all these 4 parameters. First one is legal feasibility. That means whatever the requirements we develop, so that requirement should be legally accepted by the corporate laws and state laws. That means we are not going to develop illegal feasibilities, illegal requirements. Let me give an example. Now, let us assume that we are developing a banking application. Okay. Now, assume that that particular banking is having operations in India as well as in US. Okay. Now, assume that if the user want to open an account in India, as per the government rule, his age should be above 18 years. just take it as an exception. In the same way, as per the American government, if a user want to do any banking transaction, he should be of 21 years of age. Okay. Now, we are going to develop this application in such a way that if client is using this application in India and if he's selecting the country as India, then Indian rules are applicable. That means if the user is 18 years of age, it will allow the user to open the account. In the same way, if the client is using this application in US and if he's selecting the country as US, then if the customer is of 21 years of age, then it should allow him to open an account. So in this way, we are going to develop legal feasibility. Now, second example is if the client says that once if the user do online transactions, the system has to save user ID and password in a separate folder. Okay. Now, we are not going to develop this requirement. We will say to the because the client is indirectly asking to hack the password, which is illegal. So we are not going to develop that requirement. Okay. So in this way, whatever the requirements are legal, then only we can develop that. Okay. Then second one is economic feasibility. Economic feasibility means suppose if you are investing $100 for the development of a requirement, then the worth which you are getting from that requirement or the value which you are getting or the result which you are getting from that requirement should be more than $100 or equal to $100, but not less than $100. Okay. So that is nothing but economic feasibility. Then technical feasibility. So technical feasibility means whatever the requirements you give to the developers, the developer has to find a logic to develop the code. In case if he is unable to find a logic, then we can't develop that requirements. Okay. So if you give a requirement to the developer, there should be some logic to develop the code. If there is no logic, then we are not going to keep that requirement in the development process. Okay. Then finally, operational feasibility study. Operational feasibility means whatever the requirements that are developed by the developer, those requirements should be in such a position that we have to use them in practical. So if we are unable to use them in practical, then it's waste of developing those requirements. Okay. So they should be used in practically. That is nothing but operational feasibility study. So each and every requirement has to satisfy these 4 parameters. If any one of this parameter is missing, then we are not going to put that in the development process. So once we complete this feasibility study, we will try to understand the requirements in a deeper way. We will try to understand more and more deeper. Then after that, we will start preparing SRS document. Okay. So again, what is this SRS document? How to prepare? What are the contents? Everything, as I said you, we are going to see in module number 6. That is in documentation part. So once you complete SRS document, then we are going to present this SRS document to the client. Okay. Now client is going to take some time to review and is going to carefully check the each word, each line, each sentence, each paragraph, each page of SRS document. Okay. And if he feels that everything is okay, then he will give sign off on that SRS document. Okay. So these are the activities that will happen in phase 1. Okay. So the end result or the outcome of phase 1 is preparation of SRS documentation, presentation, taking sign off. So the entire activities will be done by the BA only. So a BA is going to have more and more work in phase 1, that is requirement planning and enterprise analysis. Okay. Then second phase is development phase. Okay. So here the main activities what we are going to do is user design, existing system evaluation, and logical system design. Okay. These are the things we are going to do. So once we get sign off SRS document, then we are going to move the project to the designing phase. Okay. So here we are going to prepare the blueprint of the project. What is blueprint means? For example, if you are constructing a apartment or a house, so what the architecture will do, first he will show how your apartment is going to look like he will design that on a project plan, on a project paper, and he show this is how your building is going to look like, this is the entrance and this many flats you are going to get, so each flat this is the measurement, in this way is going to show. In the same way, in software development also we are going to prepare the prototypes and mockups. That means in the designing phase there will be a team called as designing team. So they are going to prepare prototypes and markups and GUI and ERD documents. So prototypes and markups are nothing but the screens. So each and every screen of the project. For example, if your application is having login page, so how the login page should look like, what is the background color we have to give, and where the logo should be placed, what is the design of the logo, and what are the fields that should come in login page. So in this way, the designers are going to design. That is nothing but prototypes or markups. And GUI stands for graphical user interface. And ERD stands for entity relationship documents. That means it will show, this document will explain how the connectivity goes from one screen to another screen. Okay. So these all are prepared by the designing team. So apart from that, we will prepare process flow diagrams. So these process flow diagrams can be done by the designers or the testers or sometimes BAs. So it depends upon the project manager. So if BA is having good knowledge, end-to-end knowledge on the project, then he will ask the BA to prepare these process flow diagrams. Okay. So these are the things that will happen in designing phase. So what kind of role the BA is going to play in designing phase means, the BA is going to submit the signed off SRS document to the designing team, and he will explain the functionalities and requirements that are there in the project. After that, the designing team will start doing designing. So when they start, the BA will be sitting with them and is going to help the designing team. Whenever if the designers are facing any problem in understanding, he will explain, and whenever they are having some doubts, he will clarify their doubts, and he will be checking whether this designing team is preparing prototypes as per the SRS document or not. Okay. So once they complete doing this designing, then the BA is going to review whether all these prototypes and markups are as per the SRS document and as per the functionalities or not. Then he will present these prototypes and markups to the client. That means he will show these prototypes and markups to the client, and he will explain this is how each and every screen is going to look like. Then the client is going to check, and if he is satisfied, he will give sign off on these prototypes and markups. Okay. So the outcome or the result which we are going to get from designing phase is preparation of prototypes and markups, presentation, and taking sign off. Okay. Then next one is development phase. So here detailed system specification and coding will be done. Okay. So once these prototypes and markups are signed off, then we are going to move the project to the third phase, that is development phase. So here we are going to prepare the coding or programming for the blueprint which we have prepared in the designing phase. Okay. So here there will be a team called as development team, and they are going to do coding and programming for the project. That means whatever the blueprint we have prepared, they are going to do coding and programming for the blueprint. Okay. So the time taken for the development depends upon the size of the project and size of the team. For example, if the size of the project is small and the development team size is big, then we will complete within a short period of time. If the size of the project is big and the team size is small, then we can complete within long time. Okay. So in this way, it depends. So here the development team is there, and they are going to do the coding and programming for the project, whatever for the blueprint, whatever we have prepared. Okay. Now, what kind of role the BA plays here? Okay. So the BA first is going to submit this sign off SRS document and sign off prototypes and markups to the development team, and is going to explain all the functionalities and requirements that are there in the project. Okay. Then he will expose everything to the development team, whatever the like information he knows about the project, he will completely expose each and everything. Then after that, the development team starts doing coding or programming. So when they start doing coding and programming, the BA will be tracing and monitoring their work. That means here the lead developer and the project manager, they are going to assign targets to the developers. Okay, they are going to assign targets to the development team. Okay, and they will say to the BAs to check if they are achieving their targets or not. So that's the reason the BA is going to trace and monitor their work. Okay, so monitoring in the sense whether development team is developing as per the SRS document or not, and tracing in the sense whether they are completing their targets, whether they are completing their given targets as per the schedule or not. Okay, so every day the BA will go to the developer and he will take the updates, what kind of work he has done. Then is going to check whether he completed target or not. In case only 80% completed, then he will ask, what about the rest 20%? Then he will say, I had some issues, I had some problems, so I'm going to complete. So the same is going to update in the daily status reports. Okay, and you will be maintaining daily status report and weekly status report, and while going home daily, you will submit this daily status report to the project manager. Okay, so project manager will open the status report and check whether the project is going on schedule or not. In case if he finds there is a delay in the project, then the next day the project manager will ask the BA to arrange a meeting with the developers. Then BA will arrange a meeting. Then the project manager will ask the developers why the project is getting delayed, whether they have understood the requirements or not, and he will ask them whether he want some more resources to be added in this project, or whether they are going to do some extra work, whatever it is going to take all precautionary measures to ensure that project is not going into scope creep. Okay. Now, if developer is having some problem, he will tell to the BA saying that I am facing this kind of problem. Then immediately the BA will tell to the project manager. Then project manager will try to give some solution. If he is unable to find the solution, then he will say to arrange a meeting with the client. Then BA is going to arrange a meeting with the client, and in this meeting, the developers, then BAs and project manager and the clients are going to participate. Then they will explain the problem to the client, and if the client is having any solution, he will give. If he also does not find any solution, then he will give permission to change the requirement or to go in a other process. Okay. So these are the things that will happen when the project is in development stage. So the end result or the outcome of development stage is a developed product will be produced. A developed software will be produced. So here the BA is going to do RTM. RTM stands for Requirement Traceability Matrix. So this matrix explains the complete status of each and every requirement from start to end. For example, if your project is having 400 requirements, so this RTM explains the complete status of all those 400 requirements from start to end. Okay, like what is that requirement, requirement ID, requirement description, and in which module it is going to come, what are the technical properties, what are the functional properties, who is the developer who is developing, how much work has been completed, and who is the tester who is testing, whether test cases prepared or not, did we done any changes to this requirement, if so, when we have done, on which date we have done, why we have done the changes. So in this way it explains the complete status, okay, of each and every requirement in the RTM. Okay, so apart from that, this RTM is of two types, that is forward traceability and backward traceability. Okay, so in forward traceability we will use this to plan our action. Okay, so to plan our action means like for example, let us say we are planning like for analysis we are going to do from 1 to 20 days, and designing we have to do from 21 to 40 days, and development we have to do from 41 to 60 days, and testing we have to do from 61 to 80 days, in this way. Okay, in backward traceability we are going to check whether we have implemented our plan properly or not. Okay, that means we have to do analysis from day 1 to day 20. Okay, here we will check whether we have completed in 20 days or not. For example, if you have taken 18 days, then you have to give a reason why you have taken 18 days, why 2 days, before 2 days only you have completed, whether client has reduced some requirements or whether any resources has done any extra work, whatever it is, we are going to explain. In the same way, if you are going to complete in 22 days in spite of 20 days, then also you have to give reason why you have taken 2 days, 2 days extra, whether client has increased any requirements, whether any resources is not coming to the office, whatever it is. Okay, so in this way we will do forward traceability and backward traceability. Okay, so just go to the notes once, and after that I will explain some more things. If you complete, just let me know. Completed?
Yes.
Completed?
Yes.
Okay. Then next one is testing phase. In this, the main activities what we are going to do is coding, testing and debugging, and unit testing and integration testing. So once the development of the project is completed, then it will be moving to the testing phase. That means here there will be a team called as testing team, and they are going to test the code, whatever that is developed by the developers. And they are going to do QA, that is quality. They are going to check the quality also. Okay. So here there will be a team called as testing team, and they are responsible to do testing. So why we are going to do testing means there are three main reasons. One is to test if there are any bugs in the code, and second one is to see if there are any requirements missing. Then third one is to check if the process is going properly or not. Okay. So for these three reasons we are going to do testing, and here the testers will be using different testing documents like test cases, test plans, test scenarios, and they will be doing a series of testing, like they will be doing unit testing, integration testing, system and off testing, positive testing, negative testing, all these kind of testings. Okay. So here the testers are going to test the product. Now what is the role of a BA here means the BA will become a member of the testing team. It means is not going to do test, just is going to monitor the testing team whether testing activities are going properly or not. So is going to check whether they are doing testing to all the requirements or not, and whether they are updating the testing documents or not. And the BA is going to give business scenarios, and the testers has to write test cases for those scenarios, and they have to do testing. So the BA is going to check whether they are writing test cases in a proper standard format or not. That means one tester has to write the test cases and another tester has to execute these test cases. Okay. And after that they have to do testing and they have to update in case if the test case is getting failed. So it is the responsibility of the tester to analyze why it is getting failed, whether there is a code problem or whether there is a functional problem. Okay. So these all things will be done by the BA. So the outcome or the end result of this testing phase is a tested product will be produced. Okay. Then fifth phase is implementation or installation. So here installation and fine tunings will be done and deployment. Okay. So once the testing is completed, and if the testing team is going to give text report saying that we have completed the testing and everything is fine, then we are going to move the project to the installation phase. Okay. So here deployment and configuration will be done. So deployment is nothing but transferring the code for the first time from the development server to the production server, or the place where the project is going to be there. And configuration means combining all, like functional requirements, non-functional requirements, technical requirements, all those things. So that is nothing but deployment and configuration. Okay. So here, once testing has been completed, then we are going to have a meeting with the client, and in this meeting we will say we have completed the testing. Then the client is going to decide and tell a date. Okay. So whatever the date is specifies, then we have to move the project to the production on that particular date. Now what the BA will do is, he is going to socialize this date, saying that we are going to move to production on the next week. Then he will take all precautionary measures. So he will put a mail to the entire team. This is the date we are going on live, so everyone should come. Okay. Then he will ensure that proper power backup and system backup is there on that day. Okay. Then he will make arrange of all the things, whatever that are required to move to the production. So he will say to all the lead people to be there. And in case if the client says that this project need to be developed in the night time without disturbing the customers, then we will inform to the HR saying that on that particular day we have a go live. So we are going to be there in the night time in the office, and he will ask the HR team to arrange all things like proper dinner, refreshment, and proper cab facility, everything. Okay. So all these things will be done by the BA in installation phase. So the outcome or the end result of phase 5 is configuration and deployment. Okay. Then next, the final one is maintenance phase. So here evaluation, maintenance, and enhancement will be done. So once the project is moved, once the installation has been completed, implementation, then project will be moving to the production server. Okay. This is the server where real-time data will be there, and we are going to call this as also a real-time server. Okay. Once we move the project to the production server, we are going to keep the project under observation for 3 months. Okay. In these 3 months, we are going to observe how the project is performing, whether it is performing as per the expected levels or whether it is giving bugs. So if project is giving bugs, then we will assign those bugs to the developers. Developers are going to fix them, and they will assign to the testers, and testers are going to test and release as a patch in the production. Okay. This will be a continuous process. So once the project goes to the production, sorry, bugs will be coming, and we are going to assign those bugs to the developers. Developers are going to fix and assign to the testers. Testers are going to test them and release as a patch in the production. Okay. So once 3 months has been completed, then this client is going to get in touch, get into new contract with the IT company. That is nothing but maintenance contract. So this maintenance contract goes on. Okay. So the role of a BA here in maintenance phase is, first, when the project is moved to the production, the BA is going to check whether all requirements are met or not. Then second one is going to update the same in the RTM. Then finally, you will be preparing user manuals and give training to the end users. Okay. So these are the 6 different phases in SDLC. Now you will have a quick question. Out of all the 6 phases, which phase is the longest phase and why? Can anyone answer? Any guesses? Which phase is the longest phase among the 6 and why?
Development maybe.
How you can justify your answer?
I mean, to code it must take time, right?
Okay.
According to whatever requirements the BA gives.
Okay.
And plus, if there are bugs, then again we go back to modify the code. The developer has to go through all the
Hmm.
requirements again and see if he has missed something. And that's just a guess. So.
Okay. Any other answers? Yes, guys. Any other answers? Okay. So the correct answer is maintenance phase. So maintenance phase will be the longest phase in SDLC. Why? In the sense, as I said you, once observation period is completed, the client will get into new contract called as maintenance contract. Okay. So this contract goes on till the project exists. This contract will be there. So whatever you do after production, everything comes under maintenance. Now, if you want to enhance your project, that comes under maintenance. Okay. So if you want to, if any technical issues are coming, that comes under maintenance. So it will be a lifelong till the project exists. And other reasons is like while giving the project only, the client is going to give a deadline saying that, okay, I need this project within 1 year. Now, whatever the project size, so you are going to design, you are going to plan in such a way that you have to deliver to the client within 1 year. So each and every phase, you will have a time limit. So you will say, okay, analysis should be happen within this time, designing should be happen within this time. But for maintenance, there is no time. So that's the reason maintenance phase is the biggest one among all these 6 phases. Okay. Then we have another topic called as version controlling system. So this version controlling system is also known as source control or revision control. And this explains the management of changes that we are going to do for a particular project or application, okay, or a website. So generally these changes are identified in the form of numbers or alphabeticals, which are known as revision numbers or revision labels. For example, whenever you start doing a project, let us consider we are doing ATM application system. So we are going to start with ATM application 1.0 version. Okay. Now, if you want to make some changes, okay, if you want to make some changes, if the client is going to give some changes, then we are going to save this version and we are going to take a copy and we are going to rename that copy as ATM underscore 2.0, and in 2.0 we are going to make the changes. Okay. So preventing these previous versions is nothing but version controlling system. So to prevent the previous versions, the developers are going to use some tools. Those are nothing but WinCVS 1.3 or Visual Source Safe or Rational Clear Case. These are the tools that they are going to use. Okay. So technically changes will be done through developers and functionally the changes will be done through BAs. Okay. So now if you are changing the version, now you have to update your SRS document also. What you will do, you will take a copy of that SRS document and you are going to rename that as SRS underscore 2.0, and in 2.0 you are going to show these changes. So at that time you are going to specify the timestamp on which date, on which time the changes has been done, who has done the changes, and what are those changes. Okay. Now if you are not maintaining versions, what happens? Now assume that, for example, you are doing ATM application system. So before starting the project, the client says that he has given a business condition saying that if any customer is entering wrong password for 3 times, the system has to block the card for 24 hours. Okay. So this is the condition before starting. Now the client, the IT company started doing development, and after that the client is coming and saying, so we have changed one business condition. That is, if customer is giving wrong password for 5 times instead of 3 times, the system has to block the card for 48 hours instead of 24 hours. Okay. Now, if you are not making a new version, what happens? You have done in the same version, and after some days the client is going to come and say, whatever the changes you have done, it is not fetching any advantage to me, so go with the old changes only, don't go with any new changes. Now there is, you did not maintain version. Now what happens? Whatever the work you have done, everything will be wasted. Again you have to go back and do from first. Okay. So in spite of that, if you have maintained version, so we will pick up version 1.0 and we will continue in that. So this is how the version controlling is going to help. And as per the CMMI levels, we have to show all versions. Okay. So here you can see there are some points. Version control is a system that records changes to a file or set of files over time so that you can recall specific versions later. So used by large and small companies to save time for retrieving the changes if needed. Okay. And you would love to use it since you don't need to write the code that you have already written earlier. Okay. Then next topic is artifacts. What are artifacts? Means the end result of an activity or the outcome of an activity is nothing but artifact. So these artifacts is also known as business products. Then outcome are the product deliverables. Okay. So all this time I was saying, so the outcome or the end result of phase 1 is like preparation of SRS documentation, presentation, and taking sign off. Now from BA perspective, I am going to say the artifacts of phase 1 is preparation of SRS document, presentation, and taking sign off. The artifacts of phase 2 is preparation of prototypes and markups, presentation, and taking sign off. The artifacts of phase 3 is developer software will be produced. The artifacts of phase 4 is a tester software will be produced. The artifacts of phase 5 is deployment and configuration. And in the final, the artifacts of phase 6 is patches will be removed. So in this way, we are going to call them as artifacts. Okay, just go through the notes once. If you complete, please let me know. I will change the page.
Done.
Completed?
Yes.
Okay. So let me show you the format of RTM. See, this is what I said, version controlling version history. So this document amendment details is nothing but version history. So once you start the first time, you will write it as 1.0 and date and last updated by and nature of modification. Now, once you start, after that, if the client is giving any changes, then what you will do, you will save this as SRS underscore 1.0 and you will take a copy and we are going to rename this as SRS underscore 2.0, and in the second column here you are going to say 2.0 and date, on which date we have changed and who is the person who has changed and what kind of modifications. That means changes in business conditions. And here we will show the changes. Now after that, after some days, if he comes and gives some more changes, again we are going to copy this and rename that as version 3.0, and in the third column we are going to specify 3.0. In that way we will maintain version history. Okay, and this is the format of requirement traceability matrix. So here we whatever the fields are there, like serial number, business your user requirement and requirement SRS ID, architecture, high level design, detailed design, so these are not constant. So whenever you want to prepare RTM, your project manager says I want to have a RTM document, and that document should contain like SR requirement number, then requirement description and which module it is coming, and who is the developer, development status, who is the tester, testing status. So we are going to take only those fields and we will prepare. So in this way we will prepare, keep each and every requirement. Okay, so this is one format, and there is another format. So this is another one. So in this way we are going to give. So associate ID, then technical exceptions, then functional requirements, status. Here we will specify whether we have completed or then it is in progress or in testing. So architecture, design document, technical specifications, and we can give in this way also project name, national center, project manager name, description. So everything we are going to do in this way. Okay. So this is how we are going to do RTM. I will send this to this one formats to your email ID, so you can just have a reference. So by this we have completed our module number 2, and tomorrow we will start our module number 3. Okay, so again we are going to meet tomorrow at the same time. Sunita, you can stay back, others can leave.